Hi, welcome back to my channel. I thought I would make a year in review for my reading for 2021. It is about 9 p.m. Friday night, December 31st, and I have completed my 583rd book for the year. Goodreads has a little bit messed up. It says that I read 584 books. I'm trying to find the error, but I can't find it yet. And it says I have 192,000 plus pages. But according to my carefully crafted, not carefully, but my spreadsheet that I put together on a regular basis, it is more like, I think, 195 pages. Excuse me, 195,000 pages. I'm just going to get my tablet so we can see what the actual page count would be. And then I will move on and let you know what I read this year. So if I go to my spreadsheet, you can hopefully see that Robin's 2021 reading spreadsheet. If I go to summary and I go down here, it tells you the books that I read each month. Wait for that to get clear. Let me fiddle with the clarity, the focus. There we go. A little bit more. Okay, so these are the books that I read each month, and the page count comes up to 195,810. And my page average, some months I read an average of 340 pages a day. In March, I read an average of 719 pages per day, and this month that we're finishing off now, I read an average of 424 pages per day. So I just wanted to show you that, since my year-end books on Goodreads is not accurate, and I talked to a couple people and theirs is not accurate either. And it looks like we have to adjust the focus again, so let's do that. There we go. So this is the Bookish Planner from Happy Planner, and they did not make a Happy Planner, a Bookish Planner for 2022. So I am going to use Dream Big and Share a Kind Word as a Transformer planner for next year. I'm going to keep this intact. Maybe I might change the cover out and keep using the cover. I haven't fully decided that. But if not, I've got some pretty covers there. So what I'm going to do, first I'm going to get this wire out of the way so it doesn't loop down. Okay, there we go. We're going to take a look at everything that I read for the entire year simply by flipping through the pages of the planner. Now you are going to see that the planner is fairly well decorated through October, but not after that. So let's see. Here I was noting my favorite books, not according to any particular order or any particular time that I read, but my favorite books, I came up with 18, I guess, but there's probably a couple more that I'm going to add in. And they are The Invisible Woman by Erica Roebuck, Sacagawea by Annalie Waldo, No Holding Back by Laurie Foster, Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, Still Alice and Remember by Lisa Genova, The Girl at the Back of the Bus by Suzette D. Harrison, The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins, and I actually have another Rachel Hawkins book that I'll be reading this in the month of January. A Woman of No Importance by Sonia Purnell, The Therapist by B.A. Harris, Night by Eli Wiesel, but he also had two other books, Dawn and Day. All three of them could qualify. The Cotillion Brigade by Glenn, I think it's Cranley. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. First Love Take Two by Sanjani Patel, which was really a surprise for me to put a romance as a favorite book. I mentioned Remember. I Let Him In by Jill Childs. Dear Evan Hansen was kind of like written after the play, so it's the author's name. There's several names. Pam Janoff's The Woman with the Blue Star, and A Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes. And you know, she is a producer for several television shows. And that's it. So I will start 2022 with favorite books. So I will probably use a stamp and put 2021 up there. So let's see. Now, like I said, going from January to October, I was pretty consistent with this part of my planner. But then I deal with depression, so I didn't do a lot after that, after October. But what I did do every day was I put in the book covers for the books that I read. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide something under just so that the pages will be a little bit more even so that you can see everything. And we're also going to turn this light to try to reduce the glare. So it's a win-win. There we go. So what you see here is the first week of January. You see a lot of Julia Quinn books, and you might think that I read the same book twice. One book was the main book, this was the epilogue. This was the main book, that was the epilogue. And this continued for the first 2 weeks of January, when he was Wicked, the primary book, and then the epilogue. That's how Goodreads listed them, and that's how I counted them. The first book that actually 2 books in January qualify as favorites. Lori Foster's No Holding Back and Remember by Lisa Genova. Perfect Guest by Emma Rao. That was a very good book as well. Going to the 3rd week of January, I read several books that week, including The Wife Upstairs. Boy, January was a hot month for good books. The Other Mother Before She Wakes, Lethal Protector. I do have one of these books here. Iris Johansen and Roy Johansen. I try to read anything that the 2 of them write. Those are always good books. We're moving into the last week, the last week of January. And so let's get my stats so that as I turn each month, I can quote you the correct stats. Just going to grab that sheet. This is my second time making this video because my camera won't upload the video from my camera. So that finishes off January, which was 39 books. Then we go over to February. These are some notes in the calendar section. And the first week of February was a pretty good week, it looks like, because we have 1, 2, 3, I can't count, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 books, I guess, during the the first week of February. Winnie the Pooh was a quick book. The Jenna Evanovich books, they're always quick reads. I'm trying to catch up to the series. Oh, this is her Stephanie Plum series, but this book here, Shell Game, Pros and Cons, The Heist, The Chase, The Job, these she wrote with Lee Goldberg, and these books are like mystery thriller, like crime thrillers. Silent Voices and Dead Secret. Noelle Holton, I love every single book she writes. Then the next week, I want to make sure I'm not sticking 2 pages together. It feels kind of thick, so I think I do have 2 pages together. Let's just see. Maybe I don't. This is... Okay. So then, this is the second to the last book in this series. I still have one book that I never finished, so I have to finish that. I have to read that last book. This is the first book in a different series by Julia Quinn. I'm probably not going to continue. And then we move on to my next week, The Big Kahuna. I think this was part of the Jenna Evanovich, but first she wrote with Lee Goldberg. Then she wrote with Peter Evanovich, I believe is her son. And then the third book she wrote, continued the series with yet a third author. This was a very slow week. Only 3 books read that week. I have weeks like that. Then we move into March. So we finish off February with 41 books. So 39 in January, 41 in February. I jumped into March a little stronger. I'm reading the Orphan X series by Greg Hurwitz. And I have the newest book. It comes out in about a week. It's in my office, it's in my living room. But I also have the audiobook. So I'll be reading Greg Hurwitz next week. And then I read these books by Deanna Rayburn, and I have the 4th book in this series. So the first was A Curious Beginning, then we have A Perilous Undertaking and A Treacherous Curse. I don't remember the name I might have it here. Let's see if I have, because that's coming up. So I want to see. Oh, by the way, Greg Hurt's book is Dark Horse. Okay, so no, I didn't print up a book cover yet for the next Deanna Rayburn book, but I do have it. And we also have a cat. Hopefully he won't get in the way. These are some more of the Deanna Rayburn books. And then I also read the Alex and Eliza series so that I could watch Alexander Hamilton. There were those 3 books there. Moving into our 3rd week of February, Little Women. I reread that one. I love that book and I reread it every year or two. Last week I read just these books here of March. I started to finish off the Women's Murder Club series by James Patterson and Maxine Pietro. So I started that one on March 28th. And then so first let me say this. As I finished this one, this finishes me off at 56 books in March. So that was a really good reading month for me. So I had the 11th Hour and 12th of Never, but then I went straight into April. These are some April notes. I went straight into April and binge read the rest of the Women's Murder Club series up to the 20th Victim, and that series will continue, and I'll read the 21st book when it becomes available to me. I also read B.A. Paris's The Therapist, which was one of my favorite books of the year. Obviously, this was a great reading week because you have 4, 8, 12, 16, 23 books in that one week. That was a great reading week. I have weeks like that. Then I have weeks where I read 2 books. It just depends. The next week in April, I did pretty good again. Vortex by Catherine Coulter. Loved that one. False Witness by Karen Slaughter. Loved that one. Those are easily 5-star books. This looks like it's upside down, but it's glued, so I can't fix that. Let's see if anything jumps out at me. There we go. Third Kill by John Ryder. I'm reading that series, and as a matter of fact, I just read a book by John Ryder just a few days ago. So I like John Ryder. I read a few books by Kerrigan Byrne. Her books are good. The Photographer by Mary Dixie Carter. That was really good. Another Laurie Foster book, The Sum of No Attachments, and I have the newest Laurie Foster book that comes out in August, and it's called The Summer Cottage. That one is lined up. Let's see if I have that here. Where's that Laurie Foster book that I'm going to be reading? I know I have it. Oh, The Honeymoon Cottage. I think it comes out in August, but it's coming up in a few days because I have to read her books pretty quickly. So this is my, I don't know what week of, okay, so my last week of April going into May, and that brings me to 58 books for that month. So that was a great reading month. And then more blog related notes here, and then we move into May. A good week here. This is the week I read Shonda Rhimes' book, A Year of Yes. This was recommended to me by one of the publicists that I work with, and my goodness, what a great recommendation. I loved that book. One of my favorite books of the year. Okay, I did get the newest James Patterson book. I said I was going to look for the 21st book, so I guess I read it. But I also caught up and finished the Alex Cross series. I do have the newest one as an audiobook arc. When the 22nd book comes out, I'll read it. So I guess I read that a few weeks after I binge read the other part. Forgotten in Death was the 52nd book, I believe, in the series, but I have just finished the 54th. I finished the newest book, which isn't out yet, but I've already read it. And let's see, The Guest List by Lucy Foley. That was good. I like her writing. Laurie Foster again, Stronger Than You Know. I'm on her street team, so I'm going to read all of her books. Let's see. Oh, K.L. Slater. She's a really good writer. Actually, I have... What do I have by Slater that I haven't read yet? The Widow, that I've got to read. I'm just so behind in my reading. Okay, so that finishes off May, and that brings me to 44 books for the month of May. And you see, I was consistently using this planner until towards the end of the year. So after a great week, month of May, I had a slow first week of June. Only read 5 books, but again, it all balances out. Not going to worry about that. The next week, again, only 6 books. Or, yeah, I can't add. I'm tired. 3, 5, 6, 8 books for the next week. I just want to see if anything stands out. Okay. Magpie Cove. I just read another book in this series last week, so I really like that series. Safe from Harm was good by Leah Mercer. I just read another one of her books last week as well. Okay, so my reading picked up, as you can see, because you got 3, 5, 8, 12, 15 books. So my reading is, it's kind of like this, up and down. And, okay, so this is the last week of June, and that is a total of 42 books for June. We're going to July. I'm still in a decorating phase. I told you you're going to start seeing a lack of decoration. Nothing jumps out at me. Oh, The Lost Girl of Berlin. There was 2 other books. Oh, A New York Secret, Lost Girl of Berlin, and The Girl from Paris. The Girl from Paris is the newest book, so this is a trilogy. 1, 2, and I just read the newest one. That review will be coming up in January. Let's see, these were a lot of Harlequin books, it looks like, because I'm on that team, so I read a lot of those books. Sajni Patel, remember one of her books was a favorite? I read another one of her books, The Trouble with Hating You. Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. This is only the 2nd book I've read by her. The other one was Verity, which I read. First Love Take 2 is right here. I saw it in my favorites, so I read those. Let's see, Lindsay McKenna, looks like I read that trilogy. Iris Johansson, like I said, if she has a book, I'm going to read it. I've read almost all the books in the Aurora's series, but I have one more to read. Karen Rose, Say Goodbye, and there's Aurora Burning. So there's these 2, and I have one more yet to read. Anne Cleves, those 2 books, those were good. And then pulling into the last week of June, Jodi Picoult, can't read that. Wish You, but I think it's something missing. Wish You Were Here or something. That book was a surprise. I read 2 classics, Black Beauty and The Red Badge of Courage. And it's kind of funny because my husband saw me putting this back on the shelf, and he said this is the only book he remembers reading when he was in school. He was not a reader at that time. So that's the last week of July, and I read 60 books in July. And we move on to August. Big first week of August, 5, 9, 11, 14 books in that first week. This was a children's book, a synthesized audiobook, so it wasn't the real voice, but it was enough for me to read. I read a few books, and these are not futuristic. I can't think of the term. I'm going to tell you in 1 minute. These are not fantasy, these are utopian. These are utopian. I was trying to think of the word. I have read some dystopian, like this is, The Death Cure is dystopian, but these books here are utopian. So I just needed to clarify that term. And then this next week was another good week. These 3 books by Elie Wiesel, I put Night as a favorite book for 2021, but this trilogy could have easily, all 3 of them could have fit in there. I am not trying to disrespect or disregard any author because a lot of these books are 5-star books. I'm just seeing what really jumps out at me. I read a few historical fiction books that week. It looks like The War Child, The Lost Secret of Ireland, and The Italian Girl's Secret. I read a lot of cozy mysteries. Here's one right here, A Death at Candlewood Castle. I haven't discussed it, but for example, cozy mysteries for 2021, I've read 19. Not a lot, but it seems like a lot. Some more books. This was Necessary Sins. I was just looking at the cover there. Vanishing Season by Joanna Schaffhausen. I am really liking her stuff, but she's a very deep, dark writer. Okay, so then this ends us, this is the end of August, and at the end of August, I buried the page. How many books did I read? August, I read 60 books, and then my year started to slow down. We'll see how. September, still using my planner like I should have been. Started off September really good because I found the Enola Holmes. The book I had was Enola Holmes in the Temple of the Enola Holmes in the Lost Barouche, which was the 7th or 8th book in the series. So I had to read everything else first. As I mentioned, Joanna Schaffhausen, I read those books by her. Really good books. Another good week, more Joanna Schaffhausen. You got to read her if you like good crime thrillers. A Lesson in Murder is one of the cozy mysteries I mentioned that I read a lot of, or I would like to read. Another Joanna Schaffhausen book. So that week it looks like I read 3, and the previous week I read at least 2. So I read a lot of her books during September. Dead Mercy, another Noelle Houghton book. Love her stuff. Another Laurie Foster book. As I mentioned, if she has a book, I'm going to read it. Let's see what else. Anything else? Another cozy mystery, Murder at the Wedding. I'm reading all of those as they come out. The Girl on the Platform, another excellent historical fiction book. And then we're in the last week of September. Another busy reading week, it looks like. It also looks like I read a classic, Good Journey to the Center of the Earth. Let's see. The First Girl to Die. Oh, Karen Slaughter, Pieces of Her. That was really, really good. Long, but good. Look what else I read. Dean Koontz's Frankenstein. A Body at the Altar. That's a cozy mystery. Okay, so for September, I read 55 books. I thought I was dropping off. I did eventually drop off. I printed this, and I'm going to do this in 2022. I will mesh all my book covers. I'm going to make a sheet for every month next year, 2022, in a few hours. October, still using my planner. Now we're going to slide this on the other side just so that it's fairly even. Busy first week of October. A lot of 3 Joanna Fluke books, Kathy Reich's book, Find Me in the Dark. These were audio book reviews. It looks like I read another classic, which was Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. I reread Dean Koontz The Watchers, which is my 3rd time reading it. I read Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, another classic, about my 5th time reading that one. A Letter from Nana Rose, that was a good historical fiction. I read another Agatha Christie book that week, and that was The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. Then I slowed down. Busy, slow. And these are the books that I read this week. Last Girl Ghosted by Lisa Unger, excellent book. I think this may be in my favorites. I'm not sure. And this is when I kind of stopped using the decorative stickers. I read the whole entire Sherlock Holmes collection, which was 1,796 pages. I put it for the 20th. I started it on October 1st, and I finished it on October 20th. I should have made a note of that. Some more Harlequin books, because like I said, I reviewed those for tours. Fan Club was good. A Letter from Pearl Harbor. Sisters of the Great War. I read a lot of historical fiction. It looks like I read 43 historical fiction books in 2021. And I am going to make albums based on genres. So you'll see another video that discusses more of the genres that I read. So as we get to October, I dropped down to 50. So August I read 60, September 55, October 50, November less, and December even less. So that's how it went. Oh, I did use this in November. Good. I thought I wasn't really using it. So Frozen Souls by Rita Herron. That was good. I just read I just read a book by Rita Herron a couple days ago. Was it Find the Girl? No. I'm sorry, I have to check. Stolen Angels. I knew I just... So this book came... This was number 4 in the series. This was number 5. But we'll get to that later. So that's Rita Herron. Love her books. Read all of those. Her Mother's Cry by Roberta Gately. We Live Next Door by Laura Wolf. The Fastest Way to Fall. That was a good book. Plus size heroine. The Darkwater Girls. These are... Looks like all of these are Bookouture books. So I think I was just trying to get some of those books read. Bookshop Murder, I think that's a cozy mystery. The Girl Across the Sea is a historical fiction. I read these 2 books by Jen McKinley. I had the first one as a review title, so I had the second one as a review title, so I read the first one. Then I had Dead of Winter, Dead of Night, and Dead of Summer by Jean Rabe as, I don't know if they were digital or audio, but I did read all 3 of those. I read Hooked by Sutton Foster, and it's how she uses cross-stitching to deal with the stress of Hollywood. And I'm a new cross-stitcher, so I love that. I read James Patterson, Two Sisters Detective Agency. I really hope that becomes a series. I read a couple of middle grade books, A Second Sleep and A Secret Shared, and another one, Frankie and Avalon. Frankie and Amelia. So 3 middle grade books I read last month, because we're still in December technically. Death on a Winter's Day, another cozy mystery. These were a couple of Christmas books that I review, very sweet stories. Most of the Christmas books that I review are just sweet, which is, a kiss on the cheek or something like that. Okay, so that ends November, which was 47 books. And then December, as we finish off the year, I did a little bit in this part of my planner, even had some notes on a half sheet. So as we get to the last month of the year, my readings definitely slowed down. My first week was great. What do we have? 3, 6, 9, 11 books that first week, but you're going to see that it changed. Forever Home, The Memory Bones, I'll Never Tell by Casey Kelleher, which I had as an audiobook arc. So if the cover is like this, you can tell that it's an audiobook, in case you were wondering. Murder at the Castle, that's another cozy mystery. Why She Left by Leah Mercer. The Drowning Girls by Lisa Reagan. That's, I think, the 10th book in the Josie Quinn series. Love that series. Her Dying Wish by Carla Kovac. Love her stuff. J.D. Rogg, Abandoned in Death. This comes out in February or March, but as soon as I got it, I read it. The Sorority Murder by Allison Brennan. I also have an audiobook, I think, of Allison Brennan that comes out in around June or July. So I'll be reading that soon. Let me see if I have that here. I have printed some covers for books I'm going to read. I'll show you later. No, I didn't print that up yet. But I do have another Allison Brennan book coming up. Then I read ER Nurses by James Patterson and Matt Eversman. Now, this was like little testimonials of ER nurses, but also ICU nurses and flight nurses and their stories. Very, very good book. The Girl from Berlin, I mentioned that I read the other one, The Girl from New York and The Lost Girl of New York and whatever. But anyway, I read, this is The Girl from, okay, let me slow down. The Girl from Paris is the 3rd book. The Lost Girl of Berlin was the 2nd book, and the 1st book was A New York Secret. That I needed to slow down. I'm sorry about that. Deception Most Deadly is the 1st book in a new cozy mystery series, so I love that one. Cry Wolf by Hans Rosenfeld is the 1st book in a Scandinavian crime series. I probably will not continue it. It was very, very... It was too much. I didn't like it. The Siren of Sussex, I believe, is the 1st book in a new series by Mimi Matthews. Love her stuff, so I will be reading more of that. Then we get to this week here. Saturday is the 1st, and Sunday is the 2nd, so I am going to continue this part into 2022. And these are the books that I read this week, which I mentioned Stolen Angels by Rita Herron a few minutes ago. Someone Else's Child, A Widow's Last Secret, Lost Graves, and The Commandant's Daughter. This is really, really good. This was about the denazification after World War II. So that was pretty intense. I haven't written a review on that yet. Actually, these 3 books haven't been reviewed. Everything else pretty much has been reviewed other than the last 3 books. And that ends December at 38 books. So what I was referring to is my spreadsheet that shows how many books I read, how many pages I read, and how many average pages per day. Coming up for January will be these books, subject to change, but most likely they will all get read. There's a lot of Harlequin books here, and they're like 224, 288 pages. So I'm pretty sure I'll knock all of these books out in January. Michael Ledwidge, he writes with James Patterson sometimes, so that's going to be good. Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins, I look forward to reading that. Colleen Coble, I read a few of her books around February, so I look forward to that. I have another James Patterson book here, the Alex Cross book, Fear No Evil. I know it's already out, but I haven't gotten to it yet. Then I have The Dark Horse, which I think is the 6th book in the Orphan X series. The Widow by K.L. Slater, been out, I just haven't had time to read it. Again, I have these Harlequin books. And Love at First Bite. A couple people have read this already, so I think it's going to be good. Savvy Sheldon, Feels Good as Hell. Sorry for the language. These are 2 audiobooks I have for review. You can tell because they're landscape. But in all reality, this is an audiobook. That's an audiobook. The Chase by Candace Fox is an audiobook. The Golden Couple by Greer Henderson, Sarah Pekkanen, that's an audiobook, and James Patterson, Fear No Evil, that's an audiobook. They're all advanced reader copies, but they're audiobooks. And the last thing I want to show you is I am going to try to read some of the print nonfiction books that I have, and I just want to show you a couple of those. The Black Agenda, Bold Solutions for a Broken System it's edited by Anna Gifty Opoku Agaiman. Hope by Jane Goodall and Douglas Abrams. She Will Rise by Katie Hill. 30 Life Crisis, Navigating My 30s, One Drunk Baby Shower at a Time. This is Love People, Use Things, Because the Opposite Never Works. And then the Book of Second Chances by Catherine Slee. I'm not sure if this is nonfiction. I think this is not nonfiction. I don't know why I had it with those. So those are some of the print arcs that I'll be reading in January, in addition to the other screen book covers that I showed you. So that's going to be it. This is my 2nd time doing this video because the first one didn't upload, but hopefully this one will. And for now, I'm going to say goodbye, and I will be back with a couple more videos in the next few days. Thank you. Bye-bye.